Speaking of presidential politics, former Utah Governor Jon Huntsman will make his run for the White House official tomorrow, releasing a preview in his own unique way. Yes, more motocross, this from his camp, and the promise of a shockingly different campaign, as they describe it. Huntsman will be carrying momentum from a surprising second-place finish, as you see the numbers on the screen, at a conservative cattle call. Huntsman finished with nearly 400 votes in the Republican Leadership Council straw poll, well ahead of Tea Party darling Michelle Bachmann amongst a right-leaning audience. There were reports that the Huntsman team bussed in supporters to take part in that vote, but the end result raises the question, is the former ambassador to China for President Obama a major challenger now to the president? We want to talk it over with our panel this afternoon. Reid is the political columnist for the Miami Herald and editor of ReidReport.com. And Princella Smith, founder of the American Pride PAC, both joining us. Princella, we'll start with you. And Jon Huntsman also picked up a former counsel to the first Bush administration to head his policy team. He's barely a blip on the radar screen in polls, but it's still early. Is he likely to become the sort of anti-Romney candidate for the Republicans?
I think Mr. Huntsman has a very good shot of becoming the, I guess, anti-Romney, for lack of better words. It's interesting that people call him kind of a Romney light, but he actually is the only candidate of the current field, or potential candidate of the current field, that has true international experience. He's been a successful businessman. He was the ambassador to China, but people have to remember before that he was actually the youngest deputy ambassador to China, and he has a lot of understanding about global economics. And I've predicted, and it's going to happen, that one of the bigger issues in 2012 is going to be global economics, our international debt, because as we can see, it has very much affected our domestic policies. I think the way he's been playing this has worked pretty well. I've talked to several insiders in Washington, several people who are going to be serving on this committee, and it hasn't been made public yet, and they think he's got a very good shot. He also can raise money really fast. So I think combining that executive experience, the fact that he's not as boring as Governor Romney, and the fact that he has international experience will play very well for him.
And Princella, another individual who is not as sort of boring as you describe it, can raise money and has this sort of CEO background. Joanne, I pose this to you, is Rick Perry. He's not ready to jump in just yet, but take a listen to some of his fiery speech, and I want to get your reaction to this.
When it comes to conservative social issues, it saddens me when sometimes my fellow Republicans duck and cover in the face of pressure from the left. And our loudest opponents on the left are never going to like us, so let's quit trying to curry favor with them.
It's what they describe as red meat rhetoric, the sort of far-right rhetoric. Will he will he pull actual candidates further in that direction, do you think, over the next few months, further right?
No, I think I said this earlier.
For you, Joanne, go ahead, please.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I think that Rick Perry and Jon Huntsman kind of represent two sides of the same sort of central problem for Republicans. If Jon Huntsman could just skip the primary and go right into the general election, sure, I think Princella would be right. He'd be a formidable candidate. But the problem is, for the base, he seems to be to the left of Mitt Romney. He's sort of a Charlie Crist on the national stage, and we all remember how Republican base felt about a Charlie Crist or like a John McCain, a George Herbert Walker Bush. On the other side, you've got Rick Perry, who's so far to the right, talking about secession and sort of putting forward this extremely Christian right, very far right agenda. That is more what the base wants. They want an authentically conservative, quote unquote, candidate, someone who's not going to pull punches on Barack Obama. But someone like Perry couldn't get elected in the general. So Republicans have to choose between someone they probably won't like in the primary, Huntsman, who doesn't have the name ID or the infrastructure of a Romney, but who is sort of a Romney and even maybe more moderate than Romney.
Princella,
or they've got to choose somebody like a Perry who's so far right he can't get elected.
Well, Princella, let me let you get back into that conversation. Your thoughts on that?
Well, as usually, Joyanne does a great job providing the left-wing spin, but she's wrong again. First of all, Governor Huntsman is not to the left of Governor Romney. If anything, he might be.
Cap and trade.
He's probably more conservative than Governor Romney.
Cap and trade, individual mandate. He was for civil unions, gay civil unions. All of that is to the left of Romney.
That's a good try.
But are those not his positions?
That's a good try. The economy in Utah, as well as the economy in Texas, are both a couple of the best in the nation, which is why both of them are going to make,
for illegal
which
immigrants.
is why both of them are going to make, Governor Perry and Governor Huntsman are going to make good arguments, and why, if you look at the polls within the Republican Party, they're not pleased with the current field, and so Huntsman and Perry
That's true. And Huntsman's in the
provide
current field.
voids, answers to those voids. Also, I want to point out, people keep pointing out about how moderate Huntsman is. I don't understand this. He gave a speech June the 3rd talking about how important social issues are, how important abortion is going to be, how he signed a trio of anti-abortion bills in 2009.
Right, okay.
So I don't understand people calling him such a moderate.
He has to do that.
Joanne,
that's very good. Excellent filibuster, but here's the problem. Huntsman's actual positions, he was more eager to get the stimulus funds than Charlie Crist, the Florida governor, and we remember how that played. He has been to the left on issues. He's now trying to flip-flop to get back to the right of Romney, but his positions are on the record. Driver's licenses for illegal immigrants,
look
big
at his
sleeper
record,
issue
and
that's going to hurt
Ladies, we're going to
look at his record,
his record is moderate. That's his
Joanne
problem.
and Princella, we're going to have plenty of time. We're barely even the summer of 2011. We got a long way to go still. We made it easy for our viewers, putting Joanne on the left and Princella on the right if you needed any help. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Coming up next, Europe struggles.